This episode is brought to you by the fights married people have. I want you to proudly display the ugly art that your in-laws gave you. I want you to load the dishwasher the wrong way. I want you to leave your socks on the floor 2 feet from the laundry basket. I want you to lose the remote again and again and again, and use the wrong towel and buy the wrong toilet paper. I want you to forget your anniversary again. And I want you to watch our Netflix show without me. And most of all, I want you to explain Star Wars to me for the 400th time. Because we both know I'm always going to win, y'all. Travis, I love you. But honey, if mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. Remember that. Roll to the intro, Zach. It's going to be a good one today.
This is the Kim Val Show.
This is probably one of the most important subjects known to man. What does it mean to have a secure relationship?
If you're over communicating, you're probably not communicating.
Oh, even though you've lived with somebody for 20 plus years, it still takes watering.
A lot of times people are just kind of going back and forth between self-blame and other blame. And we just got to really move out of that and figure out what are the unmet needs here.
Oh my gosh, Zach, she sees me. You've just nailed it. I've been healed, people. That's my next book. Sex Overrated.
Okay, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
All right, Zach, we have got an amazing guest. You know when I start in singing the intro, Zach, you know it's going to be good. You know?
Always.
This is always because Julie Menanno is on the show this week. Now, she's a licensed clinical professional counselor, which always scares me a little bit when I have those professional people on because, you know, I'm crazier than a one-armed paper hanger. She's a marriage and family therapist. She's a relationship coach. Her best-selling book called Secure Love, Create a Relationship That Lasts a Lifetime, which is what we all want, is out. And she's just launching her new podcast called the Secure Love Podcast, which features real-time couples therapy. This woman has 6 children, a husband, and a dog. She's got her hands full, but she knows what she's talking about. Everybody, let's welcome Julie Menanno.
That is amazing. Okay.
We spare no expense.
Amazing. I am so sad that I did not record that just now for my husband.
Oh, we've got it for you, girl.
I'm going to send it to you. You can have it. It can be your husband's ringtone when you call him.
Oh, listen, we're getting into husband's ringtones here in a minute. Listen, Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can I just tell you, as a woman who's been married over 23 years with 2 teenage children.
Congratulations. First of all.
No. Where have you been all my life? I need you. I need you on this show. I selfishly booked you on this show for me.
Okay, great. This is my favorite zone, is working with people. So bring it.
Good, because all of us need you, babe. We need the book and we need you.
I told Kim before we started, I was like, feel free to just like air grievances, Kim. Like you should just get into it.
I've got my list. Okay, I brought my list.
Oh, nice.
I'm taking full advantage of your professional counseling background.
Okay.
This is probably one of the most important subjects known to man. And I think it is something that everybody wants, is that perfect romantic Bridgerton meets, Pride and Prejudice relationship of all time. Everybody wants it. Of course, I'm telling my age here, but whatever. What does it mean to have a secure relationship? And do most of us already have it?
I don't like to speak in absolutes. We all know the grandparents that have been together for 75 years where grandpa doesn't say much and grandma's, always the one doing all the talking, and they've worked it out and we love them, right? And there's nothing bad that I can say about them, but maybe there is a closer bond that they could have had through all those 75 years. So I'm just here to say, hey, let's just kind of take what's working and expand upon that. Or if it's really, really bad, try to fix it, try to see what we can do here. And maybe it is better to kind of part ways, right? Most of the couples I treat, I think, get to the point where they bond and they get close and they learn to work through their problems in a way that doesn't harm each other emotionally. And that's where I want them to be, but sometimes people just, it's not going to happen. So to go full circle, a secure relationship, I would say, is a really tight emotional bond. We're able to show up and be vulnerable with each other. We're able to connect, not, emotionally through words, through touch, through sex, through enjoying each other together, through sharing a life together. And then on top of that, we're able to navigate all of these logistical pieces of life in a way that is flexible and collaborative. And we work with each other and we want to accommodate each other and also honor our own needs. And we're doing this in a way that isn't hurting each other emotionally, leaving each other feeling chronically misunderstood, invalidated, attacked, all these bad things that people can do to each other. So, that's just the most simple answer for that.
Yeah. And I'm just going to jump in and talk to you about my relationship. Because I will tell you, people, I'm not a fairy tale type person. Okay. Let me preface, and neither is Travis, who is my husband. We are almost like too much of realist. We have a romantical story in parts here and there, but mostly we're both fiercely independent and we're fiercely, we have a lot of character and integrity. So our word is our word. And so marriage is that for us. Yes. I'm just giving you some of the big, definitely in love. The passion and heat ebbs and flows. Sure. It's ebbing and not flowing right now. Okay. So I don't know what ebb means, but it's not as much as the flow. So we've ridden that roller coaster of marriage. Yes. But we're committed. We're committed. And I will tell you, there's times he feels more secure. There's times I feel more secure in our relationship. As a person who's been married 20 plus years, can we get that secure fire and passion back? It's here. The passion's here. Right. But I want it here.
Yeah. So what I would do with that is I would really want to understand more about what you mean when you say that. What are you hoping for? Do you want more of a feeling of knowing him, of connection? Are we talking about?
I know him very well. Connection? I know him a little too much.
But maybe you don't. Maybe there are things.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Does he talk about his fears? Does he talk about, when you say something to him and it triggers him, what's really happening for him?
I think he can as much as he can, and I think because I'm very verbal and, and I don't want to put men and women in this, he said, she said, men are from Mars, women are from Venus or whatever, I really, we have an opportunity here with our children to really, and look, we've got a good marriage. It's a great marriage, actually. We talk a lot, we work together, we dream together, we plan together. But I just remember when we were first starting out, the passion and, I'm a woman. I do read books. I do, all of the things that we do as women that when he's really happy in it, I feel like, I could use a little bit more. And when I'm really happy, he's like, I could just take a break. Not take a break from the marriage, but just take a break from this emotional excitement.
Okay.
And I know you counsel on this emotional therapy. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Julie, let me say this. Kim works with Travis too. They work together.
We're close. We're tighter than ticks.
Also.
We read each other's minds and everything, but it's just, I know there's a lot of people out there that feel like me that wow, could this be more? Could this be better and more? And that's what I love your book, because you really talk about how to take action towards that.
Yeah. I guess, first of all, the relationship that you're describing sounds very similar to my relationship with my husband. The fiercely independent, but also very connected, dreams together. We generally have the same value system, the same goals with our children. Yeah. We're not just the lovey-dovey
making couple. Out. We're not,
exactly. And we were, at one point in our lives, but I think it's just these beautiful moments that kind of we've learned to bring into our relationship that were never possible in the past. Like for example, my husband does he's one of these people that does a lot of complaining about the state of the world today, how bad things are today. And, is that how Travis is?
No comment. I'm just saying we are very parallel.
Okay.
Things are very parallel here.
Okay. And so sometimes I get annoyed, I'm just like, oh my God, just enjoy the way things are. Like there's a lot of good to be said about the world today too. And like kind of out of balance here. But I've learned now, instead of like moving away from that, I've learned to really lean into that and be like, well, help me understand. Like when you see something that's triggering and that triggers that place in you, right? That, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Everything's wrong. Like, help me understand what comes up for you. Like, I guess it sort of sounds like I'm therapizing him, but it's not really. It's more in the casual conversation context. And like, I've learned to really be able to access like his fears and his feelings and to be more able to put richer words to his experience and what the sadness is there. And there's a lot of like, grief,
heaviness.
And it's like him putting words to that. Not only is it nice for me to know him, it's really beautiful to see him get to know him in that way, instead of just sitting up here and talking about the triggers, all the things that trigger all of these beautiful places of humanity inside of him that he's just not used to putting words to. And so, one day we were out on a hike talking, and he's not a big crier. I mean, I've seen him cry when his dad died, when his mom died, but he's always more of this, try to, stoic kind of guys. And so I was talking to him about these deeper places underneath these complaints he has, and he started choking up. And he was like, he said, like, it makes me want to cry. It was like, I'm starting to cry a little bit. And it was just like, I mean, I'm getting chills just talking about it. Like, me getting to know that part of him is wonderful, but I think it's experiencing him getting to know him that he's never been able to put words to those places. No one ever asked him growing up, talk to me about your feelings,
Yeah, right.
He was 11 of 13 kids. Like, he had to stuff it down, and
a man.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he did really well in life. And I don't want to take those parts away from him that learned to be strong, be emotionally strong, but with just bringing this new piece to him it's really beautiful. It feels very, very connecting. And then when I feel that does make me more open to sex, it's just like knowing him and then he's happy about that. So then when
it's a win-win.
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So how much of communication is in a healthy relationship? How much can you over communicate?
Oh, I think so. But if you're over communicating, you're probably not communicating. Healthy communication is fairly efficient. So
that is good. Say that again. Yeah. Say that again.
Healthy communication is fairly efficient. People tend to over communicate when they're not really getting their needs met. They're not really getting to the heart of the matter. They're kind of circling around it. And they keep going because they're just so desperate to be heard and understood or communicate what's going on with them. They just don't know how. Their partner isn't knowing how to receive it. And so, it's just, there's so much, the conversation they're having isn't really the conversation they're having.
Well, that's why I love your book, and y'all have to go get Julie's book. I'm telling you, so good, because it talks about how you have actual, like, break it down conversations, like how do, like, you'd say, try to say this, say that. Y'all have got to, and to me, that is just, because even though you've lived with somebody for 20 plus years, you love them with all your heart, you share, your life, your kids, you're finding everything together, it still takes watering, it still takes a little fertilizer.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've outlined in the book something I thought was so profound. Okay. And you call it this attachment styles. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about each of those so everyone listening can also diagnose their spouses like I did? No, I'm just kidding. like
I love it.
But it's good.
Yeah.
A lot of times I think in a marriage, when you're arguing or you're not in sync or you're not that secure, you look to blame.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
To me, you're looking to understand.
Right. You start to make sense of the problem is I'm not really feeling filled up here. Something about my body is saying these needs aren't going met. Something doesn't feel right. I'm not where we want to be. I got to make sense of it somehow. So it's got to be you doing it wrong, or you kind of alternate between the only way I can make sense of it is you're not getting it right, or what's wrong with me that I'm not getting it right, that you want to get it right for me, So
Correct.
A lot of times people are just kind of going back and forth between self-blame and other blame. And we just got to really move out of that and figure out what are the unmet needs here, right? And how our partners, kind of individual wounds that either they came to the relationship with or they created with each other, kind of blocking them from being able to show up for each other, when they're getting triggered. And so to go back to your question about the styles, a really simple way to say it is like, what do you do and what do you feel when you have a relationship trigger, right? People can generally be categorized based on the feelings, what their fear, their core relationship fears are and how they manage those fears. And so someone with anxious attachment, they do not like to worry about you leaving them and they do not like to feel emotionally dropped, period. They are not going to react well to that when they feel like, you can probably relate to this. Like you don't worry about your husband leaving you, right? You probably feel pretty solid in the fact. But you might not like it when he's not validating your emotions or something like.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that's probably, just working with a lot of people. I'm going to assume that you're probably kind of lean into that more anxious. I'm not even going to say anxious, maybe more of a
say it. I love this.
Yeah. In the type of work I do, if someone doesn't have a full-blown insecure attachment, they still might show up as more of that pursuey partner that's really sensitive to emotional abandonment or emotional invalidation. So when you feel like he's not hearing your emotions, understanding your emotions, comforting your emotions, and trying to fix it or move you away or something, that's going to grab you. That's your ouch. It's like,
my trigger. That's my trigger. Yes.
Exactly.
You just, oh my gosh, Zach, she sees me. You complete me. You complete me.
I do see you.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Continue. You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
If you have more of this kind of traditional anxious flavor of showing up in the relationship, you might go into protesting.
Oh,
yes, you may have. I'm trying to be really careful here.
No, girl, protest is my middle name. That is Kim Protest Gravel. You've just nailed it. I've been healed, people. I've been healed.
All right, that's it.
So
Great
true.
show, Kim. We'll see you later. We're going to roll the song.
No, seriously. What do you... No, listen. Zach, you ain't cutting this one off. I want you to tell me what you mean by protest. I mean, I know what you said because a little thing jumped inside of me when you said it, but tell me what you mean by that.
Oh, gosh. I mean, it really can look all sorts of different ways, but the general idea is you never just listen to me. Why aren't you there? Why can't you just validate my feelings? You're not understanding me. Here we go again. Once again, you're not,
I say this probably to him 14 times a month. You don't hear me. Yeah, you're not hearing me. You're not listening.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm the biggest protester on the planet. Go ahead. Okay. Continue.
Okay. And so what you're doing, the heart of what you're doing is you're trying to close the distance. Right? You feel your body's on fire. It hurts. Nobody likes it. It disrupts the feeling of safety and connection when we don't believe we can go to our partners with some emotional concerns and get that comfort that we're looking for. And we just it can happen so fast.
And I get angry. Like I'm a hothead.
So your anger is your body saying, this doesn't feel good. This isn't where I want us to be. And that anger is trying to motivate, be heard, be understood.
Oh!
Yeah. It's trying to motivate change. It's saying, I need for you to change your response so I can feel close to you. He just sees this meanie, big words attacking him. He doesn't really see that there's underneath that, there's someone in there kind of begging
and then people have told him, like my mother and other family members, like, she's just menopausal. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. Because everybody's making sense of the problem and all through their own little lenses. Okay. And
I hope everybody is listening to this right now and hearing this. This is huge. Okay.
Then we have the avoidant attachment. Their fears are more centered around wanting to get it right, wanting to be a successful
That is
partner,
so him.
wanting to not fail. Yeah.
This sounds like a guy more. Are guys typically this more?
Yeah.
Julie?
75% of those with avoidant attachment are male. And 75%.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah.
25% is not a small number either. Okay. So there are many female avoidant. I mean, 25% of people with insecure, those with avoidant are female. So it does happen, but very typically it is female anxious and male avoidant. So their kind of MO and the way they've learned to have an identity and sense of safety in the world is competence, fix it, strength, and so what happens is then he lets you down. Now that touches his ouch, which is I'm failing. She's seeing me as not getting it right. I feel unappreciated. Here I am spinning my wheels, working my ass off to keep everything okay. And then now she's still unhappy. And here we go again. And then his response, if we're going to go down the typical road, is probably going to be getting defensive, trying to calm you down, trying to tell you what he's getting right.
I love the air quotes, calm you down.
Yeah. In ways that really just make you more inflamed. Yeah. And so the intention is beautiful, right? He really is trying to help the situation. It's just that, ultimately where he's going in his heart is, let's just keep this stable. Let's just keep this from getting escalated and worse, right? And so he's just trying to sort of get you out of convince you to feel otherwise or whatever. And so now you're invalidated on top of invalidated. And now you're even madder and you're hotter. And then you come in hotter. And then eventually, probably his reaction, if it's really a stereotypical, is going to be shut it down. Just say what you want to hear. Yeah. Tell you what you want to hear, or just stop talking about it. And then, you probably say to yourself, oh, I shouldn't have brought it up to begin with. Why did I have to open my big mouth or something? And then you guys are in this kind of state of tension for a while, but then eventually you make your way back because you miss each other. You love each other. You're friends.
We do.
You're friends.
And it's not that serious. It's really not that serious, but to me, and it's really,
it is. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, we're going to be, we're going to do the work. But if we can come up with some ways to really have that security and that trust, because for us, and maybe I'm speaking for a lot of people, when you are married a long time, it's a lot of investment. It's lot of and the grass is not greener. So it's a lot of always. It's a lot of investment in. And also, children do play a part in having a secure relationship. Do they, or do they not?
I mean, it really depends on the couple. I mean,
or at least motivation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is. I think I'm going to probably, it's hard to say. I don't know statistics on this, but I would say that, people are more motivated to make it work when children are involved. And we love our kids so much. We want, there have been times in my marriage where I have felt like if it weren't for the kids, maybe, this is, many years ago
I hear you.
Before we started working on it, but it was it is a lot easier to walk away if you don't have kids relying on you for that, structure and safety, and not to be judgmental of anyone who does choose to. And that sometimes it is better for kids if their parents are chronically fighting. It is more stable for them. There's all sorts of different arrangements that can work. But yeah, I do think it's a strong motivator.
Well, how do you have that secure love that you're talking about in the book? How do we get there?
Really it's transmitted via communication. It's really, how are we talking to each other? Physical affection is communicative. I think humans, for the most part, we're just verbal animals, right? And so a lot of it is just how we're speaking to each other. I'll give you a good example. My husband's a little more gruff. He's a great dad. Just phenomenal dad. but he's a little more gruff than me, or at least I'll be gruff, but I at least know I don't want to be gruff. He can be kind of committed to his gruffness. They need
he's all in.
Yes,
he's all in.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so I used to do this thing where I would just constantly, micromanage his parenting. I was just like, don't talk to them like that, and drove him crazy, right? Because he's like, no matter what you do, I always have your back. And I fully admit I really didn't have his back, and part of that is because I grew up with parents who did treat me kind of badly a lot of the time. And so I'm really sensitive to that. And so what I learned to do was, instead of like going in and attacking him, it was like, he needs help with his emotions in the situation too, right? He's a person too. And when your kid's being rude, we're adults and we're not technically supposed to take it personally, but it does bring up a lot of feelings, even if it's just fear of how they're going to function in the world later, and you feel like you've got to nip that in the bud right here, right then and there. And so the flavor of the communication now is more along the lines of, hey, listen, I get that, your heart is in helping them be better people. And I appreciate that about you. I mean, thank God that you are such an active role in helping form who they become. And I know that, I appreciate you standing up for that in moments when things aren't going well. I also know that both of us have had, childhoods where maybe we weren't talked to so nicely. And I want to make sure our feedback is healthy and that they don't end up kind of struggling in the ways we had to. So can we try that different? And, whatever comes from that is probably, for us at least, was way more positive and productive than the other route, which is just kind of criticizing and blaming and, him defending himself and going, they need to know boundaries, and things like that, which is all true. I mean, and there's truth to the fact that kids need to know how they're impacting people. So it's just a more gentle way of bringing things up, but I'm not honoring my own needs for, a different type of communication with our kids. And then I'm modeling to him the way I would like for him to communicate with them.
Right. Teaching people how to treat you. What does the problem beneath the problem mean? Is that what you're talking about here? Like the problem beneath the problem?
In that situation, let's say I did go in with heat and you're wrong and all this. Okay, so now the real problem, first of all, before we even get to the way that we're talking to the kids, is him not feeling understood, him not feeling like his needs matter, him not feeling validated, him not feeling appreciated for his involvement in the kids' lives to begin with, that he's not out at a bar drinking. I know that's an extreme example, instead of being at home trying to help his kids be better people, right? And so, and then, if he gets defensive, then I'm going to feel invalidated for my concerns, misunderstood. Like, I'm not trying to attack you, I'm trying to help our kids, And so basically what we would call that through the lens of attachment theory is these attachment needs to feel safe and close to each other so that we can collaborate are now being unmet. And nobody thrives in a conversation, even with anybody. I mean, if you and, Zach seem to have a wonderful relationship, I'm assuming that when you communicate with each other professionally, you feel understood, you feel like your needs are being taken into account and validated. So it's really, I mean, a lot of this stuff applies just universally to even the person at the market. Nobody does well when they're feeling, like they're being rude and whatever. So, but when it comes to romantic relationships, the stakes are just much higher and the needs are much higher. So everything is just bigger, and more impactful.
But what do you do when you, like, there's a lot of people probably listening that are going to read the book and be encouraged by it and take these actionable, steps to having a secure relationship. But what do you do when your partner, your spouse, your significant other is not willing to do the same thing?
Yeah, that's really tricky. And, when I work with couples, I'm always working on both sides of the equation. I'm always working on not just the delivery, but like when I deliver my information to my husband in that way about, snapping at the kids, and I deliver it in this beautiful, safe way, like that doesn't mean he's going to take it in. He might still have blocks to that. And so I, as a therapist, I need to get him to the point where he's like going to work with me. Okay, I see she's really trying here. She's putting the effort out to be safe with me. And if I want more communication like that, I need to help her be successful with that by being, responding in a way that's open. Even if he doesn't like 100% what I say, he's able to communicate himself with love and validation. I hear what you're saying. Let's work together here. But so if there really is a situation where like one partner just genuinely is not willing to work on it, I mean, that's a problem. Like it does take two partners to create a fulfilling relationship. There's no way around that. But the caveat is that one partner can do a lot to start creating a safer environment. They can start to shift that environment. Now, if weeks, months, years go by and they're going, hey, I'm putting all this work and I'm doing everything I can to be as my best self, which is great in many, many ways. And the least of which is just personal growth and being your best self in the world in general. And, what you model to your kids, or maybe you're in a future relationship and you've practiced being your best self. But, there is a point where people might have to say, well, maybe I do need to leave, or maybe I do need to just accept them for what they are and recognize, grieve the fact that I'm not going to have the relationship that I hoped for. So, yeah. I mean,
well, look, it is, but I've got more questions. Don't go anywhere, and y'all don't go anywhere. There's more with Julie after this quick break, and I'm going to ask you, and Julie's going to tell us how we can win our next fight in a healthy way in our marriage. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay.
MIDI Health is our sponsor today, and I'm so thrilled about it because I've fallen in love with MIDI Health's mission to bring compassionate, high-quality medical care to women over 40. So if you're a woman over 40, listen up, girl, because MIDI Health is made for you. MIDI Health is a virtual care clinic for women who are going through like perimenopause and menopause. They sent me a list of things that they treat, and I picked out the things that I'm going through, which is pretty much all of them, okay? And if you're going through them too, MIDI Health is for you. Hot flashes and night sweats, weight and body changes, brain fog and memory lapses, moodiness, anxiety, depression, if you're having trouble sleeping, a libido change, if your hair or skin is changing, or even if you have joint pain. You see, the thing I didn't know is that all of this can be connected to these hormonal changes that happen around perimenopause and menopause. So stop trying to make your own home remedies, stop going to the doctors who don't listen to you, and get the compassionate help you need by a medical care team that actually gets it and understands it exactly what you're going through. MIDI Health is covered by major insurance companies in all 50 states and trusted by over 50,000 women nationwide. Look, you deserve to feel great. So book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com. And let's all get that over 40 care that we deserve. Hey, y'all. You know that Factor has been such a game changer for me because it's the best way that I have found to eat a quick meal that's delicious, healthy, and even faster than my go-to drive-thrus. So choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat a well-balanced meal. From breakfast to dessert, Factor has easy, nutritious options with premium, never frozen ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. It's so good. And Factor meals are ready in just 2 minutes. No shopping, no prepping, and no cleaning up, y'all. So head on over to factormeals.com/Kim50 and use code Kim50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off of your next month. That's code Kim50 at factormeals.com/Kim50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while the subscription is active. Make this summer the summer you started eating better, looking great, and feeling healthier with Factor. All right, we're back, and I promised you that Julie was going to talk to us about how to win our next fight in our marriage. No, I'm just kidding. Because fights are inevitable. I mean, people who say they don't fight in their marriage, are they really married? I'm not sure. But, what is the best way to fight in a marriage? What is the healthiest way?
Yeah. I mean, if, we need to give people skills to fight in a healthy way or else they're going to fight in a reactive way. Right. And
Hello.
Yeah. And so, to me, the answer to that is focus on the end game, right? Focus on the war, not the battle. And I don't even like that word war because it pits people against each other. But, really the first step in collaborating is emotional safety. Like if you're communicating in a way that is not emotionally safe, you will damage the relationship. You will impede upon the collaborative effort between the two of you. So it might sound like, I kind of, what I described about the snapping at the kid. I mean, that's a disagreement. That's navigating a conflict. That's one person saying, hey, I don't like what you did. I would really like for this behavior to change. Here are my needs and thoughts around that. I'm open and curious to your needs. But it's in a way that isn't, like I said, reactive and blaming and protesting. So, I mean, I think if, in the book, I really outline like, here's the behaviors you do not do. Here's the behaviors you do, right? To navigate. I guess I would say, here's what I would say. I would say fighting isn't the goal. Navigating conflict is the goal. Fights are going to happen. They will happen. Nobody is perfect. We grow up in homes that, we're wired around fighting a lot of the time. Oh, well, let it happen. Try not to. And then repair. The repair. I mean, there's so much beautiful stuff that happens in the process of repair. I mean, repair in my mind is like the epitome of bonding because not that I want couples to fight so that they can repair. There's also something to be said about that. But it's just that, fights when things go south, it gets to the heart. It gets to our ouches. It gets to our deepest vulnerabilities. It gets to our deepest fears and our deepest griefs and feelings of loneliness or whatever, worries about being a failure. And that is just, it's kind of like sex is bonding because we're being vulnerable with each other.
Correct.
Emotions are bonding because when we're vulnerable. And so when we get triggered, that's when our vulnerability is really getting tapped into. So let's use that as an opportunity to get closer and stronger and do it differently next time.
How do you know if you're a good candidate as a couple for therapy?
I mean, honestly, I guess every couple is a good candidate. I mean, if you're I take that back. Scratch that. Here are the things that make you not a good candidate. If you're in a really abusive relationship, I mean, there's really like one person has power over the other. One person is genuinely afraid of the other, right?
Okay. Well,
if there's active substance abuse, that's not going to work because that person can't really participate in the relationship.
Not who they are. Yeah.
Exactly. And if there's an active affair, then we have a competing attachment. That's not going to work. If there's an agenda issue, meaning one person's really just going so they can say, look, I did my due diligence for custody issues or whatever. If they're really not interested in improving the relationship, that's kind of a dead end. Other than that, though, I mean, there are plenty of couples that have a lot of really hard stuff on their plate that come and learn to successfully navigate that. But there are a small percentage of people that come and they really are interested in couples therapy, but they're really not interested in changing their part. And that doesn't work.
So that's when you get the book and leave it on your partner's pillow. Okay. I want to get your take on this because the Surgeon General just recently said we should be putting a warning label on social media. He wrote that mental health crisis among young people is an emergency. Social media, is a contributor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As a mental health professional, as a mom, what do you think about that? Because I think it can affect like the marital relationship as well. Social media is I don't know. It's not real.
I have I have such mixed feelings about this because I have seen so much useful mental health information be put out there. I see people really, there's a lot of improvement, with things like that. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if the benefits outweigh the risks. I definitely think there is a dark side to social media. It is toxic. I have not heard that they want to put a label on it, but I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, I see my own kids and like the things they struggle with, body image, it's really scary.
I say that because you have amazing content on your Instagram. I'm going to tell everybody, y'all have got to go follow because it's such great content. So, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
So you're definitely trying to outweigh the mess that's going on.
I'm trying to, but I don't know if it's possible. I think that, if you live in a toxic world where a lot of people are really traumatized and broken, and those people have all these voices, I mean, that's really scary, and I will say this, I've really worked to create emotionally healthy children. I mean, that's my number one goal in life is to be do
I
right.
I see that's your next book. I feel like that's your next book.
I know it's interesting because I do more of this work with my kids than even my husband. I don't know really why that is, but yeah. But I mean, maybe because we're just fine. Like maybe when we're empty nesters, that's when I'll like go full force.
You'll dig in. Dig in. Yeah,
exactly. But I will say this: my older two did. And we kind of got hit, and you may have too, with all of this happening to parents when we had no idea what to do with it. I mean,
right.
My older two are in their early 20s, and it was like, oh my God, like the school's like, oh, third grade, they have to have an iPad to do their homework. Like we're like, what?
Right.
Like,
right.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so they have learned, I think, just from me helping them become emotionally healthy, good choice makers, they manage their social media very well. I mean, they both, neither of them
put it in perspective.
Yeah. But I don't know that all kids can do that. So I really do. I mean, I think it's probably the biggest problem we're facing right now is kids and social media, what it's doing to our next generation.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, before we go on to our final segment, I want you to give your best piece of advice or the best thing that people can do to help them move their relationship in the right direction. Like just one step that they can do to take action.
One step would be take turns with each other's stuff. Don't go bounce back and forth. Negative cycles happen. Yeah. Negative cycles happen when one partner brings up a concern, the other partner gets triggered, they can't hold that concern, they change the subject, they take the mic, then the other partner pulls the mic back. And it's if you can just get yourselves regulated to the degree that you can say, all right, I'm going to stay with you right now. I'm going to hear you. I'm going to respond to you. I'm not going to go into my stuff. Later, and a few hours later, I might come in and go, okay, let me just help you understand what's happening for me over here. It's very difficult, but I feel like that could just eliminate, 75% of couples' problems. So,
but it takes a lot of emotional self-control.
It really does. It really does. And that's the tricky part, And so it's kind of like I'm always working from all these different angles. I want to create a safe relationship through communication where couples trust that process can work and that they will be heard, but I also want them to be able to do it. So it's like you got to do it and you got to build up the background information to help that happen. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's books like yours that give you like the courage, the encouragement, and those ways of doing that. So that's why everybody needs to get the book. Okay, before we go, I do this with everybody, girl. Okay. Everybody that comes on the show, we do what we call rapid fire question. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
But this week we're doing a special version. We're calling it overrated or underrated. Okay.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, I can do that.
This is going to be interesting. Now, you just need to tell me of each of the things I read out if it's overrated or underrated for relationships.
Got it.
Just bam. Okay, here we go. Overrated, underrated.
Rapid fire questions.
Winning a fight with your spouse.
Underrated.
A weekly date night.
Underrated.
Doing a hobby with your spouse.
Underrated.
Okay. I'm going to say that's overrated for me because I am trying not to do all that. Okay.
I could have gone.
You sat on the fence for that one. Why? Why?
But no, she didn't sit on the fence, really. She closed her eyes real tight. And I know that means something else. That's a whole nother podcast. Okay. Having 6 kids.
Oh, dear God.
I know. 6 kids, girl. 6.
I'm going to go with underrated. I think it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exhausting, but fun.
It's
yeah.
exhausting. I was in a pit of hell a few years ago, but yeah.
How old were they when you were in the pit? How old were they when you were in the pit of hell?
You mean when I went back to grad school?
Okay.
They were 10 down to 1. Yeah.
Oh God.
It wasn't working for me. It was way too much. But women, another podcast is women, the way women are meant to parent these days. That's a whole other topic.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great that you went to grad school later in life.
I did. Yeah, I did. And I'm so glad I did. I would never trade that. And I mean, I was privileged enough to have some help. So it was easier for me than,
It's never too late, is it? It's never too late.
Oh, no. I went back. I didn't get my master's until I was 36. So.
Okay. Well, whatever we want to do, it's never too late. I love that.
Really, it's never too late. No, I don't believe so.
All right. Overrated, underrated, renewing your vows.
Overrated.
I agree.
Yeah.
What is that going to do?
I'd rather go skiing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Or just have a private girls trip and leave the guy. I live with all men. Just leave them at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is underrated. Okay, here we go. What's that saying? If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. That my husband's like, go have the girls trip.
So
okay. Right. Yeah. So go get your emotional needs out and met. Thank you. Right. Trying something spicy in the bedroom.
Underrated.
Oh God, it's overrated, girl. I can't do all that. I can't.
Within reason.
I can't do it. It's too much work. I'm telling you, we're in the throes of teenagers. Okay. And so it's just like.
I'm gonna agree with you there. I think in theory it's underrated.
Okay.
But in practice, it's exhausting.
Overrated.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But I do think in theory it's
that's my next book. Sex. Overrated. All right, here we go. Having an open relationship, having an open and honest relationship, which people seem to, let me say this. Having an open relationship, meaning you can see anybody you want to, which people seem to be doing a lot more these days.
Okay, I'm going to go controversial here. People are going to
Lord.
Overrated.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the controversial. I think if you said underrated, it would be.
Girl, who has got time to manage all of them people?
I don't know. That's what I want to know. And I have to be honest with you. I respect whatever people want to do. If they can make it work.
Yeah, it's
I
their
have
life.
Worked with many of, a handful, let's say not many, but a handful. And I've had people who, work for me, work with them. And I don't see it work. I just have not. If I see it work, I'm going to say, okay, great. This is the standard. Let's all try to. I haven't seen it work. And I think it's just a lot,
So the whole throuple thing is just too much. It's too much.
In my opinion,
In my opinion, too.
Information
ain't got time for all.
Come along later that changes my mind, but it hasn't yet.
Okay. Again, that's exhausting.
I have a question about, can I ask a question about this?
Yeah,
because I'm really curious. So at what point, I do think there's a point where it actually could be something like a commune kind of situation. I'm not advocating. I'm saying different thing, Kim, not like, we're not joining like a sex cult or anything. I mean, like raising a kid on a commune, you have lots of people engaged in that kid's like upbringing. I don't know. Is that a thing?
I mean, I think, I don't know. Honestly, I think I do believe that there is something to be said for communally raising children. I just don't know.
Community is important.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go. There's one, I haven't really thought this out well, but there's a part of me that sort of likes the way the French do it. Like they're very family oriented. They don't divorce a lot, but they do sometimes, if there's problems in the bedroom and whatever, the couple works together well in a business sense. They might have something on the side, but they're extremely discreet about it. I mean, we're getting into a whole territory of lack of honesty and all kinds of stuff. But I don't know.
I ain't got time for all of that, honey. This is my idea. This is my idea of community. Hey, Mom, can you watch the kids for 3 or 4 nights? I need a break.
Right. Okay, I just want to be really clear. I wouldn't do that, and I would not be okay with my husband doing it. But I do. I don't know.
You're saying there's some validity to sister wives. I'm hearing everybody. I'm hearing everybody.
Something about the whole world sister wives. I mean, the whole label. It just gives me the creeps. Like I can't.
I know, but y'all, I've seriously watched it and think I get it. I get why they want to ship him off to somebody else and ship the kids off. Look, y'all, I'm a realist. Being a mother, being a wife is hard. I'm sure being a husband is. I've never been a husband and a father, but I can tell you with great deal of authority. Being a mother and a wife, it's the hardest thing, job, commitment, love,
absolutely
torture, task of all time.
It is. It absolutely is. It is.
And great too.
It's so great. And it just rips your heart out. I mean, this is my experience of being a mom. You never really get to feel fully safe because you always have to worry.
Or at peace. Or at peace.
Right, never.
Or at peace.
Because there's always that little thing in the back of your mind going, what if something happens? What if, I don't know. Like,
I mean, I have the Life 360 because I track everybody in my family. I'm the tracker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
So, okay. So I just, Bo made it to school. Bo, I'm always like, where are the kids? What are they doing? Who are they with?
Yeah.
I can see you. I'm zooming in. Where are you? Are you McDonald's? I mean, okay.
You have your own satellite.
I am the GPS. Oh, and I am the satellite. Here we go. Overrated or underrated? Surprising your spouse with something special.
Underrated?
I think so.
I'm kind of a realist like you though. More of just a day. Let's just do it day to day real good.
I gotta tell you, this is, and I might be, maybe, I don't know, I'm feeling led to share this, but like what Travis and I used to gut laugh all the time, like at everything, like just anything. Like he would just send me text or just call me or do something and I would just pee in my pants. Like he is that person that can pull that picture back from 5 years ago when we did something and we just laugh.
Okay.
That to me is the little surprises that really bring us back to center. It's the weirdest thing.
Let me tell you something. We have so much in common.
Okay. I think we all do, really.
Capital U, underrated. That is my favorite thing about my relationship is we just crack each other up. We just laugh. Yeah.
Because it's so hard. Don't you feel like with relationships, it's hard to find people that just make you go like fall out, like you pee in your pants, laugh?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah, and we have little inside jokes about our kids that we'll do like under our breath.
It's fantastic. Oh, yeah. It's fantastic.
Oh
like when our first date, I guess I had a few chin hairs, and so he called me Whiskas. Oh my God. And I didn't know what he was saying. It was like our second date. And he was like, okay, Whiskas.
Okay, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It's the truth.
I can't believe you kept going out with him, Kim.
Oh, I wanted to jump his bones when he did that. He made me laugh so hard. Like he got me. I was like, dude, that is so funny. And because I said, what do you mean Whiskas? He goes, you got a few little chin hairs. And I was like, oh my God, I love this dude.
Whiskas.
I laughed.
The
Whiskas.
best is that it was with an A, not an ER.
Whiskas.
Too.
Yeah. Like it has swag on it. And the other day, that dude just out of the blue sent me a cat with a meme that said Whiskas. That's all he sent. He didn't say, I love you. He didn't say, let's get busy tonight. Nothing. That's all he said. So I just sent the meme. So it is underrated.
That is for me, absolutely. Yeah.
Me too.
That's laughter is my love language and coffee.
Mine's chocolate. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think we're best friends now. Okay, here we go. Living with extended family. Oh my Lord, is that overrated or under? Living with extended. I'm thinking of my family now going, oh God, totally overrated. I can't do that either.
I think overrated, but honestly, like I guess it depends on how old your kids are too.
No. I know what you're going to say. Like, date night. Yeah.
Or just like, because my mom did live with us when my kids were little and like, I don't know.
And it worked.
Done. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
But generally speaking, I like my space. You know, I'm not, as much as I give lip service to the communal environment, I wouldn't want to live in it.
I want to be alone. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Being
Zach.
alone.
No.
Hey, here you go.
I feel the
Here's your
same way.
question.
I'm not turning a commune. I just curious.
Being alone, overrated or underrated? Go.
For me, underrated. I
Totally
love
underrated.
my alone time. Love it. Always have.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Two questions I ask everybody. They're just superficial.
Okay.
This is just answer the question. This is not overrated or underrated. Your favorite junk food, sweet and salty.
Ice cream and those popcorn chips. They're like,
ooh, okay. Yeah. Flavor on ice cream. You just got to give us the flavor.
Oh gosh, I like so many of them.
Me too.
Oh my God. You know what? I know.
Here we go.
This is crazy.
She's going to turn me onto something new.
I had to go to London for a book thing a few months ago. My husband actually went with me. We went to this amazing Italian restaurant and they had buttermilk ice cream. And it was the best thing I've ever put in my mouth ever in the whole world in the history of me. And it was so good. And I don't know where to find buttermilk ice cream, but that was
okay. So I love you right now because like, there's a couple things that you've said during this interview that I'm totally going to steal. And I'm just letting everybody know right now. Because you always say, you always say flavor. You've said flavor a lot as as talking about. Okay. And then you just said something in the history of me. I'm like, oh my God. I'm totally stealing that too.
Okay, please.
When I reprimand my kids tonight for just leaving their shoes, their underwear, everything just laid out, I'm going to say in the history of me, I have never done that.
Yes, there you go. Because you are the center of the world.
Correct.
Matters.
In the history of me, I'm using that.
Civilization. Okay?
Correct. Thank you.
You're the Mesopotamia of Kim.
And you know what? I feel validated. Thank you, Travis. You can learn something. I'm buying the book, Secure Love. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Who is your celebrity crush? And make it a good one. Please don't be appropriate because all these people get on here and be like, well, it's... I want something just rando person that you like a celebrity. You're like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. Okay. Or she, whoever, I don't care.
Okay. It's a little dated now, but
okay.
Jack Nicholson. Just,
I know.
Yeah.
Classic.
I know.
Terms of endearment. Oh my God.
Terms of endearment.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yes.
That swagger,
and the hair, the terrible hair, the little belly.
Yes.
The little belly.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And she was just mean as fire to him and he just loved it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he could handle all of her.
Absolutely. All those the movie, like As Good as It Gets or.
Oh my gosh. We are the same person.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ready for doing celebrity improv though.
Okay, Zach. She's a smart person.
Okay, I will tell you this. If I have a second career, it will definitely be, whether I'm successful at it or not, stand-up comedian.
Right.
Comedian. Yeah.
You should do it.
You should. The stories you could tell. The stories you could tell from all of your days of counseling. And you're going to be telling those stories on your new podcast coming up, right? The new podcast is coming out and you're going to be doing like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
I can't be funny, which is sad.
You can be funny. Have us on for comic relief. We'll come on the last 2 minutes. We'll wrap it up for you.
Hang out with you guys and
we'll come on and make fun of whatever you just did.
I'm in the hot ATL. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Bring your buttermilk ice cream.
Okay.
Bring your buttermilk ice cream and we'll watch our best Jack Nicholson movies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, y'all.
Yeah.
Everybody join the one
from Atlanta is coming in a couple hours.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, exactly. Tell her we said hello.
I will.
Tell her we said hello.
I will, for sure.
All right, everybody, you got to join the 1.2 million people who follow Julie on Instagram at The Secure Relationship. That's where you can find her at The Secure Relationship. Her website is juliemenanno.com. And she runs the virtual counseling at thesecurerelationship.com. And y'all, you got to make sure you get her book, Secure Love, and listen to her brand new podcast, the Secure Love Podcast. Julie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. This was absolutely just a pleasure. In the history of me, I have never been on a more fun and great questions too. So
Oh, well, thank you. In the history of you've never had such flavor in a podcast.
Ever. Yeah. Buttermilk biscuits. Free today.
Yeah. Suck it, Dr.
Right.
Drew.
And listen, if you need, we love you, Dr. Drew. Come on, Zach. Dr. Drew's a friend of ours, been on the show.
I know, we love Dr. Drew's been on our show too. We love it. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was just
it.
listening. We were just talking about Dr. Drew's podcast. You were great on it, by the way.
Well, no, you guys
Fantastic.
make me come alive though. You're getting my real personality over here.
We did the same thing with Dr. Drew too. I don't know if he got all my jokes. And he didn't say that I was his celebrity crush, but we're working on that, Doctor.
Hopefully he's yours.
Well, I'm going to go with yours, Jack Nicholson. I'm going to go with yours.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll have to figure out how to lakeside a Lakers game. I mean, what do you call it? Courtside the Lakers game with Jack.
Oh, yeah. It only cost you $30,000 a ticket.
That's not
exactly.
I can do that. Oh, my God.
We'll start taking donations now. All right, Julie, come back and be with us, girl.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Love
Julie.
you. I know. It's always hurry up, wait. Travis goes on a tennis trip with the other coaches. And so the Bible teacher says, well, how long have you and your wife been divorced or separated? And he's like, we're not separated. Just because we're so dependent. Like, he goes to one game, I go to one game, tag, you're it. You know, he goes, we're just busy. If you like this episode, here's another one I think you're going to love. Zach, how long am I going to have to point at this? Is this enough?